Yes, and yes again. Welcome again, each and everybody, my fellow student at Jarvis Christian University. Welcome back again. And my name is Nyunghure Manuel. And this video is gonna be a little bit long, but bear with me. And we are going to um, be reflecting on what I have learned in ethics and also in information technology. These two things are very, very huge. So we are going to break them down and put them into different segments. So we are going to learn in this, what I have learned in this course. As we are approaching to the end of the course. And so in this course was just not about it was just not about technology. It was really about how people use technology and the responsibility that comes with it. As you see in our life today, we use technology in each and every day. So there's a lot of things that we have to adapt. We have to continuously learning each and every day. Back then, a few years ago, we didn't have uh, AI around, but now that's something that we live through in our daily life. So there has been so many changes, but we are going to dive in through what I've learned as as into this course of what we've studied in school. Through the course, I learned about ethics, cybersecurity, privacy, and intellectual property, and how technology affects society as a whole. So in this video, I'll go through each chapter and explain what I have learned. Chapter 1, an overview of ethics. In chapter 1, I learned about the basic idea of ethics. Ethics is about knowing the difference between right and wrong, and making decision based on what is considered acceptable behavior in a society. One important thing I learned in the is the difference between morals, ethics, and law. So let's talk about morals. Moral, that would be person belief about what is right and what is wrong. So as we know now, we live in diversity world where we have a different culture, we have people that have different backgrounds. I believe that everybody have a story to tell. So the personal belief, we have a Christian religious, we have Muslims, friends Muslims, and we have Hinduism, we have Buddhism, we have Orthodox. So on this planet, we have different beliefs, and different beliefs, it can be a little bit different based on how people perceive information, what they have been taught. So such as personal beliefs, about what is right, what is wrong, it can be different. Now, that again, it depends on the person, but what's more important is that we have to understand that people have what is different beliefs based on what their religious taught them. Such an example, uh, that would be, for example, something can be legal but still unethical, like lying to someone even if it's not against the law. So that's things that I have learned in the moral concept. So such an example that I've learned in Muslim, sometimes is allowed to say something that is not allowed, but looking the situation to them somehow is kind of I'll say acceptable. That is my opinion from what I've heard, from what I've listened. So yes, that's what I have learned. And also there's something called ethical rule or standard set by a group or professional. We have different tribes. Yeah, in my tribes where I come from, we have set of standards that everyone, whether you're adult or child, you know that's how we follow. That's how we, we do our own things. That comes into different things. There's a rule that's set, based on everything, actually. Yes, no matter where you live, there's going to be a standard or group of professional. So that's going to determine, your ethical rules. Some people tend to say, oh, I'll follow my rule, but, we all born this world have those things, around us. And that's something that, we have to learn what it is about it, how it does, how does these things work. And also we have something called laws, rule enforced by the government. The government is there. What does the government do? Us? The government is there to protect us, to rule us, and also to make sure that, provide us in one way or another, So the government is there to, to support its people, and also to lead, looking the big picture as a whole, as a government. And those are things that are learned, in ethical. Another important concept was integrity, which means doing the right things even when no one is watching. This is especially important in the workplace. Yes, the workplace is very, very important. Now, not just in workplace, I would say in generally, that's how it's supposed to be. Now, I'm not saying this that to say that, some people are perfect, people aren't perfect, just because people are not doing what is right, but it's integrity. Integrity can be the standard that, that you set up for yourself. Say, hey, this is how I want to live my life. This is how I want the world to see me. This is what I want to do. This is how I want people to perceive me. So you can set that for yourself, and is very, very important to set and create it, and also to live by it, which is, which for sometimes, can be a little bit hard, but integrity is one of the very, very important things that I've learned throughout this course in class. And also, simple explanation that will be basically in this chapter teaches that people don't always face clear right versus wrong situation. Sometimes it's right or versus right, meaning you have to choose between two good options. We see that, all the time. One person will argue this, another person will argue about this, and you can try to, reason, and sometimes those two concepts, they make sense. They are also very important. Now, my approach, I read a chapter and try to connect it to real life situation like school or work decision, and also use example to understand better. So having those things, it helps me to break down. Also, it give me a room to understand what other person, because life, real life situation, it can be different. I might have gone through this, another person might have gone through this. Now, everybody have experience, and one person may be saying this, another person may be saying this, but again, it's always about trying to understand. So the challenge sometimes comes is it was hard to apply ethics to real situation at first. But I improved by thinking through our scenarios step by step, reading books, reading human behavior through books, those kind of stuff, they really help me a lot. Yes, they really help me a lot, but also I enjoy, because, as you are encounter something for the first time, or maybe you're not used to, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, because we as a human being, we have our natural behavior, how we approach things, how we see things, depending on the real location where you are. Also, the career relevance. I've been working different career, different companies. They have a set of rules that they go by it. In accounting, ethics is very important, because we'll deal with the financial information. Being honesty and trustworthy is very, very essential, very important. Connection. This chapter is the foundation for everything else in the course. I can say that. And also, if we can dive in, it's chapter 2, ethics for workers and users. This chapter focuses on how both IT and professionals and everyday's users should behave when using technology. Main concept, we can say IT worker have responsibility like protecting companies' data, being honest in their work, and following professionals' code of ethics. Now, this is a good concept, and that is because through 2 years back then, I took a course in IT, a CompTIA exam. We learned a lot. We learned how technology work. We learned through physical hardware, and hardware is a huge. And also, we learn about software. We have apps. We have more, devices, that do many things. We have iCloud. It's huge, and also we've learned also through the troubleshooting, the process that we go through as we are trying to solve our problems, and protecting our company's data. That is very huge, also very sensitive, concept. And that's because company are very responsible to make sure their clients or customer, their information, it doesn't get leaked to the spams, people out there who trying to see those information. And so it can be challenging because we have seen through different scenario. We have seen the Yahoo, some, they were hacked, people's information will leak. Sometimes, as a human being, we have secrets, things that we don't want public to know, and by that, companies are responsible to protect our data. Data can be your age, how much you have, where you live, your addresses. So those certain things, are very, the IT worker professional, they have to be very cautious on how they protect people's information, because sometimes, one information can lead to something else. So sometimes, we all have a secret. We don't want things to go out there. So the company, they use different followings to make sure that they protect people's information. Something's called firewalls. Firewall, is out there to protect it. It's something that is not authorized, to accessible those information. So it helps to block any unknown, unauthorized devices or person may try to get access to your information. So they have different things. They have protecting. They have different. There's so many different things that they use as of right now. Right now, there are codes. There are things that they is out there to prevent that people to make sure that people's privacy, people's information, people's sources, they are very protected by the IT worker. So the IT worker looking in that area of concept, they have so much work to do, and sometimes it can be overwhelming because people who hack also, WikiLeaks, they're not just there. Their job is trying to get access to information that they are not supposed to. But you have a different technology. We have AI. We have different websites. We have different equipment that they use, to leak. So it's a lot of things. It's a huge, and it's different way that people can get access. But at the end of the day, IT worker as a technology, as we see, gotta be professional. One wrong move, it can lead to another thing. So it's very, very important to take that into consideration. Also, being honest in their workplace. Sometimes you can do something, you know and not be honest about it. you know the- Somebody can be working in a company, but they are spy. They may try to leak information to another, maybe agents that the company, other company they work for it. Now, for example, we've seen in our country. I'm going to talk about something that is a little bit relevant. We hear people say, "Oh, Israeli, they want spy, they spy on the government, secrets, something like that." We see Mossad, things that they do. It's a whole lot of things. People, as of now, people use a card, credit card in the bank. So those information are very, very credential. It's not something that meant to be out there. It's something that is supposed to be private, personal. So being honesty, you know, it's going to be a lot more, easier to work in a workplace, in a professional workplace. Also, there are following, professional codes for ethics. How you wear, how you appear, how you say things, how you speak. Those things also can indicate, what is happening or what is going on towards on your end. But it's very, very professional to, make sure that, we represent those codes of ethics. IT users also have a responsibility, such as not pirating software, not misusing company resource, respecting others online. Those things are out there. As of right now, we've seen, somebody can open a company and rely on another software. So that software's job is to make sure that, whatever is being done here is only done through the law, also through the regulation, also the authority. That it has to be there to protect the people's information. And also using not misusing the company resource. Anything that's out there, depending where you are, what you're doing, is meant to do something. So must be some standard, stated over there to make sure that, things are the way they are, the things are, they go through as planned. Simple explanation. This chapter basically says everyone who uses technology has a responsibility to use it ethically. Not just IT professionals, such as we see people use social media. Uh, some people use social media for good, some people use social media for bad, some people use social media to abuse people, some other people use social media to attack other people. So as we see, technology is huge, is unavoidable in our life, and it's something that can also sometimes can be used to harm you. Some people sometimes can be used to spy on you, and some people can be used for your beneficial. We see people who do content creator, live stream, those kind of sort of things. People give advice, people learn the things, people look it up, things that they know. People, throw out there different concepts, they explain it to you, books, recommendation. So technology is something that we cannot avoid, but something that we can learn and take it good and take that advantage for good. Learn something, maybe do with it. You can make a video. You see people who they life, the technology is their life, is a workplace, is everything. Basically, we can say it helps you to understand concept, it helps you to search up things through eBay, through Amazon, so selling stuff as well. So the technology is very, very huge, and it has a lots of different segments that that deal with the different stuff. And we just have to understand, just have to use our moral, ethical, and also the law. The regulation has to be there to make sure that we enjoy using our technology. For example, downloading movie illegal or using someone else's login is considered unethical. People do that. such as people they download, because the movie to be out there, there are so many things, locations, how much money, it costs to make a movie, clothes, camera, time, people what they eat, people take so much time, to put out their content that have a good quality image, good quality sound, uh good quality, like, on the video. So there's lots of work that goes behind the scene before we see a movie, you know but to use a different way, legally, without maybe having to pay for it, try to watch the movie. So it's not something that we can say is unethical, because some people, they make living through the movies. What they do is what they live for. So taking advantage of that, and try to use it for your own benefit without the honors of authority is considered as unethical. Someone else's logins, we see people will try to get into the access to your, maybe your Instagram, your DM, Facebook, those kind of stuff. It's not something that is unethical, because it's someone's privacy. It's not something that's meant to be viewed by everyone. So we must respect that also, take that into consideration. My approach, I thought about my own behavior online and how people use technology in everyday's life. I say, technology is a good thing and technology is a dangerous thing, and that depends on how you approach, how you see it, how you know what do you want to do. Also, that depends also what do you want to do with it. We see that the how technology has been advanced to a level that is not something that we ever expected it to happen very soon. Nowadays we have chips, we have drone, we have AI, we have so many different things that also deal with the digital is has become one of the part of our life, and we need to uh approach, take advantage of it and use it for good. That is my approach. Now the challenge that I encountered, was understanding professional ethical code was confusing, but I simplified them into basic value like honesty and responsibility. So I live my life knowing that, being responsibility and being honesty is one of the most important things, and it's something that, that's going to take me far away. Being honesty, it costs nothing, but when you're being honest with you, sometimes, it can save you a lot. Uh, for instance, I've worked in different companies back before, and being honest right there, it saved me a lot. It helps me a lot, because it tells that people that they can trust you, people they can believe what you say, people can rely on you, trustworthy. So and in this world where everything is happening very very fast, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to find someone who are honestly and responsible. It just means that you have grown up, you understand one things, and you just want to take full responsibility, full accountable for whatever that may be, such as taking care of responsibility of your needs, as a grown person. That's something that it is considered, for you to know, also for you to live by those standards. So we must be honestly in our daily life, try our best to be honest all the time, and also to take responsibility, whether it's in the other people's life or whether you in our life, especially in our life, because in our life have stages when you are helpless as a child, the stages, there are things that you can't do, other the parents, they do that for you. But as you grow up and become an adult, it's time to take responsible in a way that it makes you proud, knowing that you can take full responsibility and be able to deal with it, because life has challenges, to be honest. But uh being honest in taking responsibility, in my way of professional ethics, it have taken me far away. It's something that I learned, and I try to live by those standards. Also, career relevance. Even outside IT, I use systems at work, so I must use them. Responsibility, connection. In this chapter, connects to cybersecurity and privacy, because user behavior can either protect or harm system. So again, if you come down, to that concept, by saying, have good mirror, whether people see you, maybe whether you're alone. It comes down to, you can't control what each and every person does, but you can try to put some limitation on certain things, that can be done in a harmful way. So yeah, so as I stated, the cybersecurity and the privacy, because user behavior, again, it can be either protect or harm system. Well, system is anything that gets used to make sure that one goal is set up on, one thing leads to another thing, and that's how things that gets done. And some people can try to corner, trying to work around and do something that is off what that system is meant to do. And that's where the cybersecurity comes in. Cybersecurity is a huge concept that deal with so many different things. There's always challenges. There's cyber attacks. There are so many viruses that can happen to computer, to any system out there, because system as human we create, sometimes they are not perfect and we need some improvement, such as we see now. A long time ago we used to have a phone that have button, but nowadays we use a smartphone, we use a iPad, we use screen, so now we have a screen in our car, so there's improvement. There's a battery, those kind of things. There are ideas people come to create creation, to make sure that we are advanced, we are going forward, we are doing things better, we are making those small but important things to make sure that the creation and invention is there to improve what we do, the work that we do, to make our life easier. Today's we have yes, also, chapter 3, we have cyber attacks and cyber security. This chapter, as we went through, the chapter was about how systems get attacked and how to protect them. Main concept, I learned about different type of cyber attacks. There's something called phishing. For those people who are into field of technology, they're familiar with that word, malware and ransomware. So let's talk about phishing. Phishing can be tricking people into giving personal info. People come in different way. I experienced this throughout my day life. Sometimes, I'll receive a call from unknown person, trying to pretend something, trying to get you to give them your personal information. You see a call, you can receive any emails, maybe sometimes people come and knock on the door saying, hey, I have this business, this is what I do, wash car, it's different things. People that will come to you and they'll present it and saying that, hey, we can get you this and this, and sometimes the moment you give them personal information, those people are gone. Personal information is anything that is considered as yours, and something that supposed to be very very careful about it. Malware, harmful software. Sometimes software can have a credential information such as the credit card, banks, uh, secrets, those certain things, and on the dark website, there are people who are out there, their job is to sell information. Their job is to use a powerful software that can break down, those codes that out there, to make sure that, they get into the system and study. And hey, sometimes this can go far because somebody can get access into your software and stay there for years while studying how your system work. you know Imagine that is something that is very 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 dangerous, but people do that, into hoping that they will get access to that, trying to make sure that, they are getting the information that they are not supposed to get. So we have to be different, and we have to make sure that, also we gotta be careful. There are software. That's why we say software needs update, those kind of stuff, and we must be careful to know which software should we trust, because attacks can happen. Something called everyday attacks, and people come different way. They can be thousands, hundreds out their computer. They can try to attack at once, 0 day, something's called 0 day, track at once, and computer get overwhelmed, and for that reason they can get access to it, and change the information and try to get, hold on that software or destroy that. So just that is something called malware. Also, there's something called ransomware, locking data until money is paid. Some people can get into something, and then the moment they get access to it, then they will demand something. We've seen that, for example, my personal life, people, they can try to, you know, get into your bank, try to do this, try to change something, tell you to do Bitcoin. Those are something that for regular people are now, very, very intellectual about that concept. So it's something that, you come in thinking that, okay, this is this and this, but people, are looking monies. People are looking, people to trick them, so in that way they can threaten that person to send them something. Those things are things that, cyber attacks happens every day in different ways. Cyber attacks sometimes can be somebody that work in a company, in an organization, and trying to give the information to an outsider, somebody who isn't allowed to get access to that information. So it's happened out there, and the good things that technologies try to put the system out there that can prevent those things, to happen. And really, to be honest, it's really really difficult, but nowadays we are, that's why we gotta trust the, system that, we know this is, can be reliable, such as Apple. iCloud is a little bit more safe. Also try to put the encryption out there. Put your number, put different codes to make sure that, it's not easier. Change your password, and every now and then, to make sure that, your information doesn't get leaked, because those people who are meant to harm, they use different system, they get advanced tools. So we must keep approaching and be able to update our mind to make sure that we are on the same page. I also learned why cybercrime is increasing and how companies protect themselves through people. There are three ways, many ways, but I'll focus on main. There's something called prevention, detective, and response. Prevention can be, yes, prevention. It just basically means, taking a step before a problem happens, to protect the system, data, the networks from, threats like hacker, viruses, or crashes. you know Think of it like locking your truck before someone try to steal it. You are stopping the issue before it starts. Simple breakdown such as prevention, avoiding damage, attacks, and data loss in advance. So the common example using antivirus software, like on my computer, I use what's called Norton antiviruses or McAfee to block viruses, firewall to stop unauthorized uh, access, strong password, and multi-factor authentication, regular update to fix security weaknesses, data backup so you don't lose information, avoiding suspicious like links or download things. And one of the most important, sometimes you can be sent a one click can lead to a mass destruction. Why these things matter, why these things are very, very important. If you don't focus on prevention, you end up dealing with it. Hacker system, lost money, stolen information, business downtime. For someone like so for something, for something, to having those three things in place: uh, prevention, detection, and response. Detection is, you set up your system in a way, if anything that is not authorized, when that thing gets access, you have a way how you detect, how you see things, because in a computer world, people can use IP, they can use, source, different things. It can be a link, it can be a text. The moment you click on it, they have access to your information. So the response, what are the steps that you use to respond to that attack, to that malware, to that viruses? How what are the steps that you use to respond? So in simple explanation, cybersecurity is basically about protecting computers, data, and systems from hacker and attacks. My approach, I watch example of real cyber attacks and related them to things like email scam. Sometimes, such as me personally, I'll say I have a company, and most of the time I receive email every day and calls every day. People, trying to pretend that they know me. People, saying this, hey, we can help you to build your business, which is sometimes, is something that is very, very, it can be very well to deal with it. You can get, overwhelming because there's so many calls. People come with different tactic. So it's very, very important, to make sure that, prevention, detection, and response are there to make sure that, you have a step, you have implemented, the progress, the way how you're supposed to deal with that. So having those things, in place is going to help us. So detection, is yeah, in cyber, prevention and detection, you know I've seen, so many different things, you know basically it's just that, I respond. What do you do after, the threat is certain, happening, not before, because we're already happening. How do you stop it from happening? Notice, how do you notice when it's happening? Respond. How do you act to fix it? So example, in a computer world, there are, you know Microsoft Defender, seeing stranger traffic on your network, because in the computer world, computer understand two languages. There's something called zero and ones. Everything goes by zero and one. So there's a way, how the computer. And also, must also understand that, computer, it has also its own weaknesses. But the goal when you're doing a prevention, detection, and a response, the goal is to catch the threat as early as possible. How do you respond? How handle that problem response? It's what you do once a threat, is detected. You can remove malware, resetting compromised password, restoring data from backup, investigate how the attack happened, those things. So that way you will prevent that from happening in the future. So, dealing with those kind of stuff, is very, very important. Simple real life analogy. You know, you know, why these things matter, why should we put detection in the first place? It can help you to notice a fraud or system issues early. Response helps you to avoid downtime or lost money, because everything costs. So my approach, to this cybersecurity, is something that I've seen, something that I'm used to. So I know where you have to protect myself. For example, it's not something that I know, or maybe something, seems to be legit. Writing me on email, I don't usually respond. I just leave it like that, or I just, put in the trash. So the challenge, there are many technical terms. So I broke them down, down into simple meaning. Career relevance. Yes, in career relevance, in accounting, protecting financial data is very critical. A cyber attack could cause a major problem where everybody is freaked out and you guys have a little time to act on it before the issue happen. So the connection, this connects strong to privacy, because both deal with protecting information. It's chapter 4. Will be the private part. This chapter, focus on how personal information is collected and used, how you give information, how it is used, things like that. Yes, that kind of stuff. I mean, concept, what information company collects, what do you give to the company? Data breach, when the data is stolen, government surveillance, consumer profiling, those things, we must be very careful, because sometimes this is not the first time or second time. Sometimes we see companies collect our data, and sometimes they don't say, because for them saying that out there, it's not something that are very comfortable with, because for them saying, hey, this is what happened, it can be a very dangerous thing, because people promise they can be fine, they can be this, they can be harmful, they can be, it can lead to a whole different other things. It can be taken advantage of forever. So need to be also very careful to the company that approach us and ask for our information, what they collect. So very, very important to ask them questions, how they're making sure that our information is not gonna get leaked to elsewhere. So if the data gets stolen, what do they do? Those things has to be information. Also, what about the government? Because the government, are they going to get held accountable for for that privacy, that our privacy that's been go out there? So to add on that, I might say that there are things that no matter what, you must keep it for to yourself, and don't trust the government, don't trust companies, because sometimes we have heard that Facebook, sometimes TikTok, they use this algorithm to help them to learn things without authority. For example, such as we see contents, short reels on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. How do they make sure that we keep loving, we keep being happy, to make sure that we keep watching the video without collecting people's information, collecting data about what they like or not, and that lead to how knowing for them knowing what you like more than even anyone, because our daily life depends on what we do on the social media, what we see, what we look at, those certain things. So we all need to make sure that our privacy is protected at all costs. Yeah, because now protecting your privacy, it can be something that's going to harm you in the future. we've seen, people's integrity get destroyed, people's privacy, get thrown out there on social media. So, we must know, and also make sure that, wherever we put our information gets saved, and also get used according to what we agreed on. Sometimes also the government, sometimes they use our information without our authority, to check us, to spy us, to check our bank's information, things like that. So in a simple explanation, privacy means having control over your personal life at all costs. And this chapter shows that companies and the government can collect a lot of data about us, sometimes without us realizing it. Yes, and sometimes for those who don't understand, maybe like, okay, what is the government gonna use our information for? What they're gonna do with it? And not understanding in a broad picture on how small information can be used, uh, it can be a little bit difficult, because on your end you might think, okay, nothing's going to happen, but in reality, this is something that's going to be much valuable for them, as we are going in a nearest future. Now we have fingerprints, so facial recognition, cameras everywhere, tracking our every movement. Sometimes as a person, when your personal life is out there, sometimes it can be, sometimes you just want to be alone, sometimes you want to get recognized, sometimes we see celebrity, how they lose their personal information, because their life is targeted everywhere they go, for some people looking for them for bad intention. That's why it's very, very important to make sure that we have control over our personal information. For example, app tracking your location, or websites tracking what you search, those things are not allowed. We must take in control, unless you agree to it and you know what it is, and it's something that you say, okay, I don't have a problem with. So privacy is something that uh we must be very, very cautious about it. My approach about apps I use, thought about the apps I use and how they collect my data. I look at those things, make sure that I use it for good. But sometimes, the challenging, challenges can occur. Understanding the law is difficult. They use those big words. They hide things. In a way that is very, very difficult to see. We've seen in our Arctic's contract, how they sign things without knowing, what it means, and lead for them, losing millions of dollars. So those, things, an example, and other things, it's good that, as on my end, I focus on the main idea, protecting people's information. So having that, knowing that, being aware of that, it's going to help us a lot. Also, this can also apply to career relevance. Handling confidential data responsibly is important in any career. You know, governmental people, you go out there, you give them your ID, you give them your name, your address, your age, where you live, who are you related. Those kind of things, as a professional career, it's very, very important to add career and know your limits on, what you're supposed to do. So in that way we can prevent, the other stuff, into occurring. Also, you know connection, this connect to cybersecurity too, and ethical, because protecting data is both a technical and moral issues. Yes, so those things, it can be difficult. As we come back again, we say moral, and ethical, it can be different to a person, but we must know, we have to come to agreement where we say, hey, this is our standard and this is what we go by, this is what we use, and things like that. Also, go on chapter on intellectual property. This chapter is about owning ownership of ideas and creation. ownership, ideas of creation. Main concept, you know, I'm glad, I have an account to YouTube. As if this video, you see, I'm recording this video, but I'm going to post it later. Now, me posting this video, I have ownership, of one of these ideas, and also the creation that I'm using it, the place, things, how they look. So, yeah, I'm glad that YouTube have, put the, regulation into places, copyrights protect creative work. Some people, they can use your creation without authority, without appreciating, and use it, and make a tons of money on your creation that you did, your hard work. So we must make sure that whatever company we use, you have those things, regulation in place, to make sure that our work, our creative, our ideas don't get stolen, such as we've seen creation in shoes, in clothes. Those things we must give the credit to the person who come up with those idea. Patents protect invention, trade secrets protect business information. Don't just let those information be out there. Issue like plagiarism and piracy. Simple explanation: if someone creates something, they own it. Either should not copy and use it without permission. It's very, very important to put those things in places. For example, copyright someone else's plagiarism. Take somebody else's idea, the time they use the concept, and use it without permission is not allowed. Downloading paid software for free, piracy. This is meant for you for the payment, but you take advantage by using for free. It's not something that we should be doing. It's something that we have to make sure that those things don't get taken advantage without our authority or without knowing what we should do about it. That's why I said the regulation, everything is supposed to be in the first place, to make sure that everything is used for what is right, and in a good way. My approach, I apply this to schoolwork to avoid plagiarism. Said writing, let's say I make sure that I do my own research. I make sure I write something that is my own, something that comes to my head. I try to be a little bit more creative, so that way I'm not lazy, I'm not using somebody else's information. So I make sure that those things are in place. As I'm writing essay, because in the school we write a lot of essay, a lot of things. But the challenge sometimes, understand the legal difference between protection, but example helps. Understanding the legal difference between protection but example helps. And also in career relevance important for avoiding legal trouble and respecting others' work. We do not want to do something that's gonna put us in jail, in prison. Those trouble, we need to protect them. How do you protect them? You learn about legal in everything that you do, in classes, in the country, government, in school. Have the legal, understand the difference in private and public, those kind of stuff. We have to learn, so that way we can know those things and what's their difference. So it's very, very important. Also, connection. This link to ethics and software development as well. So as we use technology can we must find a way that we deal with one thing without harming another thing. We deal with another thing to make sure that we have the balance. I think that is a way to put it. Going forward with chapter 7, software development. The chapter focuses on creating software responsibility. Main concept, importance of high quality software. A risk of software, failure software, safety critical system like medical or banking software. Those things are very, very medical. Actually, let's talk about medical software. Medical software. Medical, I would say most of us, we do sick sometimes, time to time. And sometimes we have disease, we have, things that we don't want to share out there, things, that are very, 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 very vulnerable and very personal. Now, hospital, they use those information to make sure that, they put the system where, they can be able to locate your background history to make sure that, when they are trading, if something that looks similar or something that has happened before, they know, how did you get held, those kind of stuff. So also banking software, man, is very, very critical. We must make sure that, our hard earnings, get protected, get, get used to whoever is on it. Simple explanation: software must be reliable because an error can cause serious problem. For example, making error could lose money. A medical system failure could risk lives. People have, different symptoms. That's why sometimes you go to hospital, they ask you, you're sick, this. Sometimes they ask you, if you take any medicine, if anything can help you. You ask those questions to make sure that, they will not do something to harm you. Or for example, my approach, I would say, I thought about apps crashing and how that affects users, challenges, understanding technical process, but focusing on impact helped. Career relevance, uh, even as a user, I depend on software system daily, but I just make sure that, I don't put myself in a vulnerable aspect. Connection, this connects to cyber and ethical too as well. So very, very important. The importance of it on society. This chapter looks at the bigger picture, the main concept: technology improving productivity. We see technology has been an advance in farming. Farming has, uh, have something called, technology helps us in farming. Smart plantation monitoring tools like sensor, drone, GPS allow farmer to track soil, water, crops health in real time. This approach called, precision agriculture means farming only use what needed: water, fertilize, instead of guessing, trying to figure out where we're gonna get water. Those kind of stuff, use machine, all that kind of stuff. And also machine, to use to farm and plant seed evenly, harvest faster than human. Efficiency water use, less water wasted, crops grow better, as especially in a dry area. Those kind of stuff. Improve seed and crops. Yes, through genetic engineering, scientific creation crops that, resist pests, survive drought, grow faster, result more reliable food supply. Data and forecasting. Farmer now use apps and software to check weather, forest cost, predict crops disease, planting and harvesting. Result, we end up, fewer surprises and better decision. So the bottom line: technology helps farming by producing more food, less resources, saving time and money, making farming more predictable and efficient. Yeah. On the other hand, the digital divide. Not everyone has access to technology. Impact on healthcare and daily life. Simply, explanation: technology has made life easier, but also created challenges. For example, online work increased productivity, but not everyone has equal access. My approach, I related this to online classes and remote work. Challenges. Balancing positives and negatives. Career relevant technology will continue Shaping jobs and the industry connection. This chapter ties everything together. In conclusion, this course helps me understand that technology is not just about system, it's about responsibility. I learned that ethical is the foundation of all our decision. Cybersecurity and privacy are essential. Uh, Everyone has a role in using technology. Responsibility. Technology has both positive and negative impacts. Overall, this course has prepared me to be more ethical and responsible in my future career. So, thank you, and be looking forward to see you next time. Thank you.